Welcome back to the Marlins here on OOTP 26, and as you can see, we are here approaching the ever-important trade deadline here in 2035, coming out of an All-Star break, losing the first game to Kansas City, but then winning the series 2 games to 3, and then sweeping San Diego, now going out to a series against Milwaukee, and then St. Louis, which will carry us through the deadline into August, and the playoff push here. As we can see, it is still a very, very tight race here in the National League East. This is like the first season in a long time that we may not be the team that gets the first round bye. And I don't exactly want to sit around and find out exactly what this team will do in the wild card round because anything can happen in a 3-game set. And I would prefer just to move on to the NLDS as we have been doing. So we are going to not just sit here and be like, hey, we have needs, but we're going to just trust that our system is going to do stuff. If there's something out there that makes sense, we're going to pull the trigger on something like that. Now, as far as what we do need to upgrade, I think we could use a starter or even 2 starters here for down the stretch and in the playoffs. I think Patino is a playoff starter, obviously. I think Godfroy has earned the chance to start in the playoffs because he has just been really good. Now, it is only 8 starts. My opinion of that could change. Like, if we go down into the rest of the season here and we look at his splits, right now he's getting better as the months go on. But, if he finishes the season, if August and September are disasters for him, probably looking to start something else. But I do think we need to acquire 2 starters because, Hernandez has been good for us the past 2 seasons, but this year, not exactly having a great season. His K rate is down a ton. If he's starting in a playoff game, he's like the 4th guy. So right now it's Patino, Godfroy. I don't really trust Hernandez to start a playoff game right now either. So ideally, we add 2 guys who we would not mind starting in a playoff game. Hernandez or Godfroy is our 4th starter. Right now, it's probably Godfroy. If we can only add 1 guy, then it's the guy we add, Godfroy, then Hernandez. So I think, at the very least, we add a starter. Preferably, we add 2 starters. As far as the bullpen goes, I think we can pretty much stay put at that. Maybe picking up a left-handed reliever and not having Grijalva and Griffin as our only lefties. Maybe pushing Grijalva into a less serious role, although he has been good for us. But the underlying stuff for him has not been good. So if there's a lefty out there that we can pick up, I think I would be open to doing something like that. So 2 starters and a lefty is ideally what we pick up. A lefty in the bullpen. So 3 pitchers. When it comes to the bats here, obviously we don't have any room for these 4 guys. These 4 guys are not going to get pushed out of the lineup, but we've got all sorts of guys playing in different positions and whatnot. Mikov is currently on a rehab assignment. And he's not even really doing anything down there either. So he's not really doing anything as our backup 4th outfielder. Obviously, we're missing Dylan Head for the rest of the season. He wasn't hitting for us anyways. And we have this very, very top-heavy lineup where it's, like I said, the 4-headed dragon. Miguel and Arquette have been solid. Lee has been horrible offensively. Ortega and Asbel are just whatever. And then Vargas has been terrible. So, are we doing something to where we could maybe pick up an outfielder and push Vargas down to a bench role? I don't really want to do that. I would rather trust that Vargas can turn things around. How has he been doing recently? Month by month. Not really making any progress whatsoever. He's still just been just as bad as he is all year long. The walking and strikeout numbers don't really change at all either. His BABIP has been around the same. So, he might just be cooked at this point. He just might have no juice in his bat anymore. De La Cruz has been hitting well as our backup infielder right now, but it's 25 plate appearances, and I don't exactly trust this guy to be a long-term option for us in the starting lineup, obviously. So if we could get something where we move Vargas back to the infield and we don't have to play Arquette and Miguel every day at both positions, and we could go back to that 3rd base platoon, or it pushes Vargas to the bench and maybe we pick up a second baseman and an outfielder. So Like, I would be open to picking up two starters, a reliever, a lefty reliever, and even 2 bats. Like, I would be open to really anything. I've mentioned that we have Domingos Ferdique down here, but do we trust this guy to be like an immediate contributor for us at the big league level? Maybe, maybe not. He's more of a third baseman, and we don't really need a third baseman at the moment. I think I'm leaning more towards he's like our third baseman next season or the season after that. Del Cid could be a guy we call up, but I think he's sort of in that same vein as De La Cruz, where he's more looked at as like a backup at the moment. Maybe long term could be more of a starter for us, but not somebody I'm really looking to like give us a bump to our lineup right now. I'd prefer guys who are like solidified and have better ratings than this. And then same sort of thing with the starters. I'd prefer a guy who's solidified rather than like trusting one of our young guys like Andy Hodge here, who looks like he could be really good at some point, but I don't want to just rush him as a 40 overall at the moment. We also have this guy who has a horrible personality class, finesse lefty, really just average across the board. Could be like a decent 4th, 5th starter for us like next season or the season after that, but for now, I don't want to trust him and rely on this guy to be good for us in the big leagues at the moment. We also don't have either of these guys on the 40-man roster, so we would have to open up spots for them as well. So as far as who is out there on the trade block, let's look at the pitchers first. So starters, already not a lot of options here available on the block. Now, these are just guys who are on the block. We could try to manufacture something on our own, but these are guys who have been listed by their teams to trade, like Chase Petty, who is wrecked. Don't want to trust that, even if he has been good. This guy, don't want to trust that extreme fly ball. No thank you. Drew Beam, not an expiring contract, quite expensive. Not really the type of guy I'm looking for either. Jackson Cox, maybe. He's expiring. I like that he's a ground ball pitcher. He's got a good leader, high baseball IQ. He's been like a serviceable starter throughout his career. Nothing really that great, but I would trust that maybe this could tick up a bit behind our defense, or with our defense behind him. So Jackson Cox is probably the most interesting of these starters, the 50 ones here, the 50 overall guys. As far as the 45s, I don't think we're going to trade for 40-year-old Corbin Burns, who apparently has actually been not too bad in Colorado this season. Not good, but not bad either. Gregory Santos is apparently a starter in this universe. Don't think we're going to trade for that. Jonathan Cannon, same thing with him. Reed Detmers, same thing there. Valdez, don't think we're going to trade for that either. Brooks Capel, that's a no. And Braden Sharp, extreme fly ball, that's a no. So really it's just Jackson Cox of these players. Would it take a ton to get him? Okay, we could just give them like a Butch Brown, who we recently DFA'd. We took him off the 40-man because he has no more options, and we have other infielders that we like. I would not be opposed to giving them Butch Brown. I don't know why they would want to trade for Butch Brown. Maybe we give them somebody like this. We give them Jorge Medina, who is like a decent catching prospect sort of guy, who's like actually valuable and isn't out of options. We have the catching depth that are like similar value around this guy. We don't really need him. So I think we're going to give them Medina. We're going to get Jackson Cox. He's going to join our rotation for the rest of the season and hopefully is helpful for us. Or honestly, now that I'm looking at this, I think it would be fine if we give them Butch Brown. Jackson Cox is not that type of dude, so we're just going to give them Butch Brown, Jackson Cox. Boom. Let's lock that in. Are there any like relievers that we could move to a starting pitching role? Maybe. This guy, side armor ground ball. He's not expiring though, and he's very, very expensive. Although the Cubs are retaining like all of that. He's a lefty too. That's interesting. None of these guys really stand out. He's the only interesting reliever at all. Are the Royals even bad? Okay, well thankfully the Mariners are bad. I forgot to look at that. So they would be trying to trade somebody like Jackson Cox. The Royals, they're also bad. So they would definitely be looking to give up a reliever. Even if he's not expiring, but we know the Cubs are paying like all of this. Horrible, horrible personality, but lefty who's been really good. He's even started recently. I think we're going to do this. I don't know why they're listed as win now, because they're not a good team. But we are going to trade Ruben Chirula, who is a 19-year-old, almost 20-year-old scouting discovery. Could be a decent starter down the line for us, 55 potential. He's performing well in rookie ball. Maybe he's something. But we're going to take up Ben Abelt, who they have in the bullpen. He's proven that he can start. He can be a reliever. Whether this guy fills the starter role for us or fills the bullpen role for us is to be decided. But he's going to count as one of these guys we pick up. And so we get him. The Cubs are paying like all of his salary. They're retaining 80% of this, and we get another year of him as well at age 32. And interesting player. So we're going to, why is he unhappy? Because of the team record. Okay. And the role. So he does prefer to start. Our money barely drops from this, as we know, because the Cubs are retaining like all the money. Ruben Chirula to the Royals for Ben Abelt to join our team the rest of the season. All right, so there's no more pitchers on the block that we're interested in, and we're going to try to manufacture something with pitchers by looking at the bad teams. But as far as a bat we could pick up, like I said, it's maybe an outfielder and an infielder who can play second base, and then an outfielder who can play preferably right field, so we can move Garcia back to left. How is Lara? Okay, so Lara's having a bounce-back season. The Cubs signed him in the offseason to a 2-year deal. I don't think we want to guarantee a second year for him, though, so I don't think we're going to pick up Lara, even if he is having a bounce-back season as a bench player. So they're not starting him. Also, the Cubs are still like around 500. They're only 2.5 out. I mean, none of these right field options are that intriguing to me. I think the most intriguing, really the only intriguing one, is Corbin Carroll, who is very much in like the sundowning part of his career. He's almost 35 years old, lefty bat who can hit well against both sides. He can hang against lefties. He's not the type of glove that he is in real life, obviously, but still has a good bat against righties. He could even lead off against us with this 70i. Having a really, really down season offensively, but we're kind of banking that maybe he would be able to turn things around with us. He is, as of recently, he's been really good. So, maybe he can turn things around with us and do more something like one of these seasons. I would even take what he was last year for them. What would he take to get? Well, first of all, are the D-backs even bad? They are. The D-backs are indeed bad. Do they have like a starter we could maybe package for? Going to the didn't they have Corbin Burns? Weren't they the team that was starting Corbin? No, that was the Rockies. Never mind. That was the Rockies. So there's starters. Who is this guy? He's torn his UCL. So that's probably why they're bad, is because their best pitcher tore his UCL. This guy, he's a prospect. They're not going to trade him. This guy's got barely any service time. Espinosa is a Rule 5 pick with barely any service time. No. Will Sanders, not what we're looking for. Ted Gibson, really, really good pitches here. He's like a Ramon Hernandez type with worse movement. And I don't really want to bring in, he's given up so many home runs. Fly ball pitcher with only 45 movement. I don't really want to tempt that, especially at our ballpark. They've got a potentially elite closer, so they've got a really young staff. It doesn't look like any of these guys are, this guy's 30, 33. He's horrible. None of these guys are like players they're going to be looking to trade. They're all very young. Aside from Will Sanders, who is not somebody we're trying to pick up with another year in his contract. So, they don't have a pitcher that we could, like, package with Corbin Carroll. They are just ravaged by injuries here. All their pitchers got hurt. That's why they're so bad. This Chaparro guy, he's their best pitcher. He tore his UCL. Torn rotator cuff for their second best pitcher, and Manuel Ramirez, who I guess they were banking on to be good. They were definitely banking on him to be good. This other guy, Aaron Hall, looks like he could be a decent pitcher. He tore his UCL. They've got Mike Carrier on this team. He's had injury issues. Yeah, a lot of, I mean, even this guy, Evan Kelly, could be a really good reliever. Shoulder inflammation for him. A lot of pitching injuries and just injuries in general for this D-backs team. Yeah, Corbin Carroll doesn't really have value. He's having a bad season, so we're kind of buying low with this, and we're just giving them this Jesus Garcia guy who, maybe he's something for them. For us, he's just been walking way, way too many guys for us. We cannot keep having this guy get chances. He's on our 40-man roster, so we're opening up a spot in the 40-man. We're picking up Corbin Carroll on a buy low. And that's what we're doing here. So Corbin Carroll is now a member of the Florida Marlins for the rest of the season. So we're over here just looking at possibly a starter to pick up here. There's really not a lot out there that's on the block, obviously, we've seen. So I'm just kind of looking at any starting pitcher in the majors who has at least a 45. And I'm seeing this Marcos Pimentel guy on the Brewers who has 113 innings. And I'm like, this guy has a 3.5 WAR? This guy has a 3.5 WAR, 199 ERA plus, 68 FIP minus. He has a 206 ERA, a 2.79 FIP. How? They got this guy off waivers in the offseason from Seattle, and somehow this guy is one of the best pitchers. And they're in dead last. Maybe he's an option. This guy is crazy, too. He's having a good season. He's had multiple good seasons with Houston after they claimed him off waivers from the Mets. Not exactly the best guy on ratings-wise. Also, I don't know where this is. That's the first time I've ever seen that nationality in OOTP. His name is Alessandro. Shout out to Serie C save that me and the boys are currently doing in FM. So really, the only other guy that I'm seeing here that could possibly be a trade option for us is Linnell Downs, who is a guy who also is not on an expiring contract. He's still in arbitration. He's 28, but he doesn't have a ton of team control left. He's not super expensive. He's an extreme ground ball guy. He doesn't have the best control. He only really has 2 above-average pitches. He's had some up and down seasons in his career. Really good first season, down second season, really good third season, and then he's been down so far this season. But once again, maybe that's something to do with, the BABIP's about the same each year. Maybe he ticks up a bit with our defense behind him. Who knows? But Linnell Downs, what would he take to get? I mean, yeah, they're not interested in trading this guy. I'm not going to give them a top prospect for this guy. So I'm thinking we're going to lean that guy who was on this guy, Marcus Pimentel, the guy who the Brewers claimed off waivers. And the Brewers, as we know, are not a good team this season. So they would be definitely looking to capitalize on just a surprise waiver claim like this that they have. I don't know how this guy is pitching well. OSA doesn't exactly love him either. Maybe he's just dotting up the corners and he has this crazy changeup. I don't really know, but we are going to try to acquire this guy. And he also is going to take just a shit ton to get. I mean, Jesus Christ. They don't want to trade this guy. They think this guy's valuable to them. So it's really, if we're going to get a starter, it's going to be some guy who's on the block that we're just kind of hoping can be good for us. Do we take a shot on wrecked Chase Petty for the rest of the season? Even he would take a decent amount to get. I wouldn't mind doing this. Gregory Santos on the Guardians, they're starting him this year. He's had a decent FIP in the rotation. I don't know if we would start him. He's only a 2-pitch guy. We might try to do some follower opener stuff to get through the season and the playoffs. He's been a really good reliever in the past. For a long time in Cleveland, he's been one of their guys. One of the better I couldn't think of the name, closers in baseball for a while. He's obviously very old at 35, almost 36. He's days away from 36 years old. But he's got that high control, that high limit home runs. And honestly, I would not be opposed to just being here, have Grijalva. Have Grijalva for Gregory Santos. He's a guy who we're probably not bringing back next season at $6.6 million to be what he is at this point in his career. Let's just see if we shop him around. What could we get when it comes to starting pitchers? Cubs would be willing to give us that guy, Jonathan Cannon, who stinks. This guy who's extreme fly ball. The Giants would be willing to give us Valdez, who stinks. He's also been a reliever for them. Yeah, I'm over here just trying to shop random prospects for a starting pitcher. There's just nothing out there that's interesting, so I think we are going to do this Grijalva for Gregory Santos deal. I even shopped Grijalva too. So Grijalva for Gregory Santos, our money drops by a ton. Could we get them to possibly retain like 30% of this? They would still do that just straight up. What's the number that... Okay, they can't afford that. They can't afford that. Boom. 80% of it, I don't even give a shit if it makes no sense. Gregory Santos coming to us for Adrian Grijalva, who, like I've said, is just not what he used to be for us. And we're not going to be paying him $6.6 million in arbitration this offseason. So we might as well get something for him while we can. Gregory Santos will be joining our either as like a follower option or an opener or a back-end bullpen guy. He's going to join our staff. All right, so I think that's all the trades we're going to be doing here. It's not exactly the most ideal of what we did. We only picked up one bat in Corbin Carroll, but like on second look of the bats here, like Corbin Carroll's going to play right field for us against righties. That Mikov's now the backup. He's still the backup. He's off the IL now, or off his rehab assignment. The platoon at third base is back with Miguel, who is really good against right-handed pitching. And then Arquette, who is really good against left-handed pitching. Second base is Vargas. We're kind of just hoping that he can figure things out. And really, it's like if we pick up a second baseman, in which pushes then Vargas to the bench, who do we send down? He becomes the backup infielder. We don't have any obvious solutions to send down other than Harai, but like we want Harai to be playing against lefties because Carroll does not play against lefties. He's only playing against righties for us. He can hold his own against lefties, but we're going to let Harai try to hit against lefties for us because we want to get him going. We want to get his bat going against lefties. And I don't think we're going to pick up a bat that's like better than him against lefties. So we don't really have anybody to send down to open up a spot for another bat. We've already had like a bunch of crunches here in the pitching staff where we've got Patino, Cox, Hernandez, Godfrey, Gilbert as the 1 through 5. This is just ignore the order. It's just where they're placed at the moment. Gilbert has been much, much better here in the month of July. He's got 3 starts. He's been phenomenal. So we're hoping that he can maybe be really good for us down the stretch. If not, we've got options that we could move to the bullpen. We could go with followers and openers. We're going to get creative with it, essentially, down the stretch here when it comes to the staff. We've already sent down Moyeda to make spots for somebody. We sent down Quijones simply because he was in an avoid high leverage role anyways. So we wanted to have Santos, obviously, in the bullpen. And when we get to the 40-man roster, or not the 40-man, but when we get the 2 extra roster spots, we will bring Quijones back up to be a part of the bullpen, and then we'll probably call up some sort of bench infielder to help with the lack of depth on the infield here down the stretch. This is going to be a hell of a race down the stretch because Marlins 1 in the power rankings, Phillies 2 in the power rankings here in Major League Baseball. I mean, the NL East is looking like it's going to be crazy in what is the final season of the NL East because once again, we are realigning the league after this season. So it took us all this time to get an actual race going here in this division, and it's going to be tight. Little quick check-in here. We're going to do a couple of these as we get to the end of the season. It's August 12th at the moment. You can see we now have a little bit of a cushion here on the Phillies. 4.5-game lead on them for first place. That's because we just racked off a 9-win streak here dating back to the 1st of August. That's a W9, then losing to Atlanta in the second game of this 3-game set on the road. I mean, things are going swimmingly here so far in the month of August. Winning like every goddamn series. Jalen McCoy just had 12 straight games with an extra base hit as our cleanup hitter. I mean, we literally haven't lost a series all month. We're playing a rubber match here against Toronto. But when was the last time I actually lost this Milwaukee series right before the trade deadline? We dropped the first two and then took game 3, saved the sweep there. But now here late August, as we now have a 4-game lead on the Philadelphia Phillies, they're still keeping decentish pace with us, and it's gonna be a serious month of September here. All right, so successful month of August there. We did end up losing that series against Toronto, dropping that rubber match, but then following it up with a sweep of Atlanta, taking the first 2 of this set in Flushing against the Mets. As now we transition into September on the season, it's now the roster expansion, 2 spots open up. We have a 5-game lead on the Phillies here. Things are starting to go our way here. 90 wins on the year. We only need 10 more for another season of 100 wins here at the Fish. Starting to feel a little bit better here about our chances of not having to deal with the wild card. Also, you can see here that on the Who's Hot section, Godfrey has just continued to be incredible for us. Elizalde has been, he's going to win Reliever of the Year this year. He's just insane. And then Jalen McCoy, he's so hot that he's 42 for his last 100. Insane. 13 home runs over his last 26 games. Jesus Christ, folks. We've been dying for this type of hitter, and we've finally got it. He's going to get extended this offseason. That's 100% happening. Jalen McCoy's out here just doing all-time shit. 40 straight games getting on base has finally come to an end here on September 16th, I believe was the game. Yeah, September 16th right here it says. 30-30 player, folks. It is the end of the 2035 season, and the big bad Marlins have done it again. The Fish with another 100-win season. What are we even worried about, folks? Not even close to beating us out in the NL East, as the final season of the NL East is once again won by the Marlins. 105 wins on the year. That means we have now had 5 straight 100-win seasons here with the Marlins, and this is our second highest ever. 105 wins, 57 losses, as we haven't lost the division since 2028. That's 7 straight division titles for us here at the Marlins, 9 total in the Craig Finn era. Heading into this era with 0 division titles, we rack off 9 of them, and like I said, 7 in a row. Pretty damn impressive here as the Marlins close out the NL East, this current division alignment, with another 100-win season. As let's take a look at how our team did this year. Surprise, surprise! A lot of high numbers, or a lot of low numbers rather. High places in the league leaders, I guess, is what you would say. 3rd in batting average, the 2nd most runs scored in the National League this season, 2nd in WAR, in OPS, in WOBA, in 3rd in hits, 2nd in extra base hits, tied for 2nd in home runs, the least amount of strikeouts. Hitting a ton of home runs and not striking out, that's pretty great. And then the most stolen bases in the National League, with the 2nd best base running value. Well, on the defensive side of things, the 2nd best overall ERA in the National League, 7th in starters, which I believe was 9th at one point. Now it's down to 7th. The best bullpen ERA, the least amount of runs allowed, the 2nd best WAR, 1st in hits allowed, 2nd in opponent average, 3rd in BABIP, 1st in least home runs allowed. Walking a bunch of guys, but we're used to it at this point. 2nd in strikeouts, and then very, very good defense. 3rd in ZRA, team of plus 22.3, and a 4th highest defensive efficiency. 23-5 in the month of August. Incredible season here for our Fish. And it actually started off not the best. We were 14-12 to start off, but ever since then it's just been the Fish rolling. Once again, 105 wins. We're the Fish, baby. As far as our run differential, we had the 2nd best in Major League Baseball, plus 237. The St. Louis Cardinals with a plus 240 was the best in Major League Baseball. They were 10-14 in extra inning games, 22-24 in 1 runs though, as we are 13-2 in extra innings, 26-19 in 1 run games. What else can you say? We're really damn good. We are really, really damn good. And taking a look at this roster that was so good this season on the pitching side of things, we will sort by WAR, or we'll just sort it by positions as we usually do. As far as Pedro Patino, not his best season, but still very solid nonetheless. 3.5 WAR, gets 30 starts, which is 2 less than he got last year. Not quite the Cy Young numbers that he has put up, but still a very, very good starter who's heading into the postseason as our number 1, obviously. Then there was Marique Godfrey, who was our number 2 this year. He was phenomenal coming up from AAA. Jacksonville, got 20 starts, 24 appearances, 109 innings, and put together a really, really solid campaign. 30% strikeout rates, sub 1 home run, throws super hard. This guy is definitely going to be a part of our rotation for plenty of years to come. And then Jose Fernandez ended up putting together a decent little season. Not his best for us, but overall still solid. Another 2 WAR. What were we worried about? Jose Hernandez is still good. And then Jackson Cox, coming over from the Seattle Mariners, put together a decent-ish year. The FIP wasn't as good as it was with Seattle, but the ERA was much better than it was in Seattle. His K rate went down with us. His home run rate went up. I'm not sure if we want to go with him or Logan Gilbert as our 4th starter, but we will see what happens when we get to that point. As then Logan Gilbert, you can see here, ended the season on a cold streak. I guess we don't want to go with Logan Gilbert, so I guess it will be Jackson Cox, or maybe we go with a stopper or an opener. As Logan Gilbert's up and down the whole season long, gave us some good innings, gave us some bad innings. April and May this was sort by major leagues here. May, really good. June, really bad. July, August, both really good. And then in September, just a terrible, terrible month of September. So, up and down, gave us some innings. What else can you ask for 38-year-old Logan Gilbert as the 5th starter? Well, in the bullpen, we had ourselves I should mention that Gregory Santos, unfortunately, did get hurt. He's out for 2 weeks, so he will miss at least the first round, assuming we move on. But going to be a big loss for us because he was really, really good in his 24 1/3 innings pitch that he had for us. Even better with the FIP, much better with the ERA, striking out more guys, walking less guys, giving up less home runs. BABIP went down. Just overall was an improvement for us than he was with Cleveland. But as far as the rest of the arms go, we have this 3-headed dragon in the back end of the bullpen with Luke Garreau pitching 120 innings for us this season, 77 appearances, back-to-back seasons of leading the leagues in appearance, 3 WAR as a bullpen guy, 150 ERA plus, a 60 FIP minus, incredible stuff, a 39.4 strikeout percentage, and then Tony Elizalde, just as good, if not better, also 77 appearances on the season, 3.5 WAR, 201 ERA plus, 63 FIP minus, a 26% strikeout rate, a .3 home runs per 9. Crazy, crazy good back end of the bullpen there. And then adding Ben Abelt to this as a lefty who was quite good for us in 33 1/3 innings pitched down the stretch once acquiring him at the deadline. And we have him for next season as well on a very cheap deal because the Cubs are retaining this. We got him from the Royals. The Royals got the Cubs to retain most of his salary. And now we have him cheap for next season as well. As far as the rest of the bullpen, the middle relievers, Mike Bird put up 47 1/3. He was really solid for us. TJ Griffin gave us 54 2/3 innings. He was really solid once again as a lefty for us in the bullpen. Angel Macias goes 59 1/3 innings. He was really good. The best bullpen in the majors. It's without a doubt the best bullpen. Ramon Hernandez ended up putting it together a decent season in the bullpen. The starting was not good this year for him, which was just really unfortunate. But the bullpen, 83 innings as a follower for some games. Most of this was as a long reliever. Put together a decent enough campaign, so that is good to see. And then on the hitting side of things, if we sort by WAR, Mark Antonio puts together a 6.7 WAR as mainly a DH, 170 WRC plus, 45 doubles, 36 home runs, 120 runs driven in, and 130 runs scored, as he is now our 2-hitter, 11.4 walk percentage, 17 strikeouts, 17.7, slashing 312, 392, 585 with 30 stolen bases as well with a 30-30 season. All-time player, one of the best hitters we've ever had on this channel. Jalen McCoy joining that this season. Also puts up a 170 WRC plus, 38 doubles, 49 home runs, leads the team. That's got to be the highest we've had here at the Marlins. 129 ribbies, leads the team as well. 108 runs, doesn't strike out ever. Really, really weird player. Generational pop, also 75 avoid K. I mean, just crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy to have this type of power and also never swing and miss. And then Jorge Garza, not his best offensive season, but overall extremely, extremely good. 5.2 WAR, triple-digit WRC plus still, 34 doubles, 19 home runs, swiped 44 bags at a very high percentage as well, and played us a good center field this year once Dylan Head went down, an 8.6 CR at the center field position. Alex Garcia was really, really good for us, the four-headed dragon that we have on the offensive side of the ball. 4.4 WAR, 150 WRC plus, 39 doubles, 31 home runs, also 100 plus ribbies for him. He doesn't strike out a lot either. Once again, just a crazy top-heavy lineup we have this year, but really, really good to have these four guys in your lineup. Like, just some of the best bats in Major League Baseball. Brooks Lee puts together a 3 WAR. Not a great offensive season, but that's what we're expecting from him at this point. Not a great offensive player anymore, but still very good defensively, as he just continues to have this late career resurgence where he's no longer like an elite defender at second base and a really good like leadoff sort of hitter for us, but now he's also not the bat's not there anymore, but he is a very, very good defensive shortstop. And then Dustin Asbel really solidified himself as the catcher down the stretch. Ends up playing 86 games, 88 total. 1.5 WAR, 95 WRC plus. We will absolutely take that with this 65 framing, blocking, and 60 arm. He puts together 3.7 catcher's ERA. The framing runs, I don't really know how that's so negative, but also throws out a bunch of runners. He's really good. He is definitely our everyday catcher at this point, or our majority catcher at this point. Ive Arquette ended up not being the greatest this year, but he did his job against lefties. He came in that platoon, was really good in that platoon against lefties, horrible against righties. Where Angel Miguel was not quite good down the stretch against righties, and then just was, you can't play the guy against lefties, that level of just horrible bat. Corbin Carroll ended up being pretty decent for us, was struggling for Arizona. As an expiring contract, we pick him up on a buy low deal, and he ended up being pretty good. 800 OPS, 122 WRC plus, 10 doubles, 6 home runs, and 162 plate appearances. We will take that as a veteran player. He actually put up a decent ZR, so he's not a horrible right fielder either. We will absolutely take that. Like I said, Ortega was not great for us. 64 WRC plus. Asbel has definitely solidified himself as that catcher for us that we want. And then Ashedri Vargas just could not turn things around this year. It did a little bit better in July and August. He did have some decent WRC pluses, but then right back to being in the shitter in September with a 43. What player are we going to get in the playoffs? Hopefully not this shitty version of Vargas, because he's been a key piece for us for a long time. And then Seitaro Hirai here, getting some more time against lefties down the stretch, ended up putting together quite a good season against lefties, but obviously not as good of a season last year, where he was just any chance he could get against lefties, just tearing the cover off the ball. Didn't get as many opportunities this year now that we have McCoy playing first base, and we don't have a platoon there. But Hirai is still on the team doing his thing. Chris King came up down the stretch and was like a backup infielder. Did not do anything. He was horrible. So I doubt he makes the postseason roster. As now taking a look at the league leaders around Major League Baseball, the highest batting average was .377 from the Las Vegas Athletics' Jonathan Gonzalez, their first baseman. One of just the craziest hitters we have in this universe at the moment. When it comes to the home runs, it's Juan Cuadras with the only 50 home run season. On the year, another 10 WAR. His WRC plus was below 200 this season, but I mean, it's a 180. 50 home runs. Crazy player. What else can you say about this guy with the 70 range in center field as well? I mean, the best player of all time at this point. And then Jalen McCoy, second with 49 home runs right behind Cuadras. He was also third in ribbies. Lopez of the Pittsburgh Pirates was actually the league leader. They have this guy signed through 2043. Wow. So the Pirates actually have a big bat that they've got committed to long term. That's pretty crazy. They also looks like they have this Ramon Martinez guy who's really good. One of the best OBPs in Major League Baseball. So the Pirates actually have some dudes. Very interesting. McCoy was top 5 in slugging percentage as well. Mark Antonio, top 5 in hits. He had the most runs in Major League Baseball. Top 5 in triples was Jorge Garza, as he continues to be up there in that category. He was second in stolen bases. Dylan Head, I think, had 33 on the year, and he only played like a couple months, so he would have just shattered this. He would have been way up here if he played the whole year. Extra base hits leaders, top 5 was both McCoy and Mark Antonio. ISO, McCoy, top 3 in there. Take a look at the pitching side of things. Elizalde actually had the top 5 wins, 16 wins as a stopper for us. That's pretty crazy. And then look at this Pimentel guy from the Brewers leads Major League Baseball in ERA as they pick him up from Seattle on waivers and just somehow turns into this monster pitcher for them. Still don't understand why this guy is so good, but he's really good. Cincinnati once again with 2 of their players in the top 5 for pitcher WAR. Also 2 of their guys in the top 4 for innings pitched. Their guy Pagan almost had 300 strikeouts, 299 in the season, way above the second place guy at 243. Hernandez and Patino, both just walking a ton of guys. That's just why we lead the league in base on balls every year, because we have these guys in our staff. And then the 2 best relievers in baseball this season, Elizalde and Garreau, with 40 and 38 shutdowns to be first and second place respectively on that list. And then Garreau with 2 holds on the season, or 23 holds, is second place in Major League Baseball. Not anywhere on the saves list because we're not getting a ton of like counting stat saves. But Elizalde did have a decent amount of those. What was it exactly? We go to the homepage. He had 30 saves. He had 30, Abel had 15. Most of them are with Kansas City. And then Garreau had 6 saves for us. And then on the defensive side of things, don't really know how Garza played 169 games because he just definitely did not do that. But he's there on the second place spot for games. Asbel for range is top 5. Still don't know if that's good. I'm assuming it is because Ethan Salas is up here leading the league in that. So I'm assuming that's a good thing. He's also 3rd in defensive efficiency, 2nd in caught stealing percentage. So just don't try stealing on our pitchers. Also Juan Flores. This guy was their catcher and not Thomas. Interesting. Ethan Salas back to being the top framing runs guy in Major League Baseball. What happened to that Thomas guy with San Francisco? He just wasn't a starter for them this year. So you're telling me they have a disgruntled catcher on their hands. Very interesting. And then here you have the 2035 postseason bracket. Once again, the final season of the current league alignment with the current playoff alignment. Marlins and the Dodgers are your first-round byes in the National League, with the Pirates, Phillies, Cubs, and Cardinals as the wildcard teams. All over on the American League side of things, it's the White Sox and the Red Sox as the first-round byes, and then the Twins, Tigers, Orioles, and Astros are your wildcard teams.